everybody. Phyllis Law. I'm here today. I'm excited to get us going and share a little bit about some resources we have available. As we know, we're on the countdown now to our profile reports to being released at the end of the month, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And today we are, I can get my PowerPoint going. As always, we have our expert panel with us. I'm not going to go through everyone, but you can see we've got a wide range of folks who will be looking at the chat, monitoring that chat. We also have Jeff Hogan, who will be monitoring the chat as well, and also Lee Winterhalter. He is our guest speaker today, along with myself. Lee is with the Fayette County Drug and Alcohol Commission. Did I get that right? I think. Yes, and he's also a PACE consultant with us. So we're excited to have y'all here. Primarily what we're going to talk about, I'm going to open up first with what's new and next. We have so many cool things that are being worked on and new direction and really just kind of trying to make good things even better. We also have a we'll then go through the PACE guide itself. Before we do that, I'm going to want to make sure, kind of see what everybody's understanding and knowledge or usage of the guide that we have. And then when we open up the Q&A, like we always do, I really want us to have a space where we can talk about maybe some updated materials or new resources that you would find valuable in your space and with the folks you work with. So you'd be kind of thinking about that, because we would like to have some chat about that in the end. Lee, as I said before, is working with us along with another consultant, Jamie Zucker, who was not able to join us today, as well as Michelle Duhart. They are working with us on some really neat curriculum and all kinds of social media things, and just really great. They're just bringing so much value to work that we've needed to have done, and we were able to make it happen. So we're excited to get going, and we want to, again, Sophia has put up polls. If you would, as in the past, those of you who have joined us in the past, please answer the polls and let us know kind of who we have in the room, if you will. And we will take a look at that. This also helps us take attendance. So definitely let us know who you are. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Sophia, if we're good to go there, we good to go, everybody? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in here. And as I said, I want to talk a little bit about some things that have some information that is just starting to roll out, as well as some new materials, and just kind of touch base a little bit about things before we dive into the actual guide itself. These numbers are hot off the presses. We just got our final counts from Buck Harrison. As you can see here, we had a bit of a decline from 19 to 21 in our overall school districts, as well as the traditional and non-traditional schools that participated. But I will say, and I will speak for the team, we were so happy with the numbers that we did, the participating numbers that we did have, because initially when we first started talking about 21, we were thinking, goodness gracious, we just didn't know who was going to have the capacity in the school districts that would have the capacity to be able to participate. So as far as overall numbers go, here is kind of hot off the presses as well, some numbers as far as what we're looking at statewide with valid surveys by grade. As you can see here, we have less than 10,000 different in each grade, which is amazing. The reality is that, you know, we knew we were going to take a hit because of COVID, but you know what? We still have such great data, and it's across so many districts. And we're really, and just the fact that all of you are here with us today, people aren't just participating, they're also wanting to know how to use it. And in saying that, one of the things that we have here, this is a new resource that we've developed that will help you kind of understand where you are, kind of where things are happening. What kind of reports are rolling out. As you can see here, we have a couple of new things that you may not be as familiar with. As we told you before, the preliminary highlights report that rolled out in December. And what this matrix does is it lists what the report is, Then it'll talk a little bit about what level of reporting you get, and then also the target date for this time. So just jumping back here, the preliminary highlights report did come out in December to school districts. The counties, it came out in February, and then a state level was in March, as well as the IU. Now, the state report only had very targeted information in it. The county and the state can be found on the PCCD website, as you can see on the bottom of your page here. So we hope you've seen it. If you haven't, please reach out to your school district superintendent. They would have the link. Now, your profile reports, that's what we're on the big countdown for. The profile reports will be out on April 30th to the school districts. The school districts will have, and this is to all districts. Now, the preliminary report, if you remember, was only to those districts who participated online. Now, the profile report goes to all districts who participated. You will see we also have county reports for any all counties that have more than one participating school district. The Pennsylvania profile report is based on the state sample. Okay, so that's again a little bit of a different information and in depth that last time we produced that, and it was really valuable information. We also are going to be producing an IU level, which is the intermediate unit, which is regional, so that you'll be able to work with them to kind of see a different level of comparison. So the profile reports are going to be wide and broad, and we're excited about those. We also are going to be releasing a report called All Questions by Grade. Now, this is going to have a listing of all of your data in a report, in a tabular form. You're going to be able to see what the responses look like. This is going to roll out at the school district level for all participating school districts, as well as at the county level for those who have more than one district that participated. We are on point, I heard yesterday, to also release that report at the same time with the profile report. Okay, so April 30th is kind of a big day. So this time, the cool thing is you're going to get your standard, what you're used to seeing profile report, but this All Questions by Grade, you'll be able to see those responses in a really neat format that we think you'll find a lot of use for. Coming in later in the summer, we will have the PAYS statewide full detailed report. This is the report that really outlines the methodology. It has a greater information about the statewide sample, has lots of crosstabs. This will come out in late July. And then we also have the PAYS statewide highlights report. Now, this is going to be a very infographic report. It looks very different than anything that any of the other reports that are rolled out. We're not exactly sure when that'll come out because this work will be done by the PAYS advisory group to pull that report together. So we kind of said to be determined, but look forward towards probably in the fall sometime you'll be able to get it. If you need to get a copy, as always, of your school district report or the IU, you need to request a copy directly from them. And here is where you can find your county and state reports. So I hope y'all are as excited about all this really great new information that is coming out for you this year. It's going to give you a lot of information. We also have an updated series that I want to hit really quickly. I know we usually do this in the end, but we have updated based on need and based on request. May 4th, we are going to look at your report overview of both reports, the local profile report, as well as that All Questions by Grade. We're going to be able to kind of take a look at that and see what those look like. June 1st, we're going to have a report live, a live Q&A, so you can come back after having a month to look at it, come back in June, ask us questions. We will have a lot of new and updated material release information then. Lee and Jamie, our consultants, will be, and Michelle will be sharing with you a lot of information about PAYS related materials there. We have decided to cancel July 6th just because we realized that was a bad week. A lot of people take off. So we're going to press pause for that month. And then finally on August 3rd, we'll have our web tool training. That is again another release to school districts. We've always had the crosstab tool available online for the county and the state level, but now school districts will have that. We had anticipated this to be a required training, but we're kind of going in a different direction with that right now. And we'll give you more information about that in time. So please make a note. This is new and updated as well. Also, too, coming up is Prevention Week. So please make a note. May 9th, it's actually May 8th through the 14th, that's Sunday to Sunday timeframe. The Commonwealth Prevention Alliance is a great partner in this. They're doing a fantastic job planning some really cool events. There's going to be a press conference at the Capitol this year, something in person. There's going to be release of a lot of social media opportunities. The prevention happens here. Crosstab will be a part of this. And all of the PAYS work, and Lee and Jamie are going to be releasing a lot of information about what you can use during Prevention Week. So keep an eye out for that. And definitely we'll send that to you because you're on part of our the webinar series. You're a member of our group. You'll get information about when those new materials come out first. Lee, anything else you want to add? Don't want to put you on the spot, but anything you want to add kind of in that space?
No, there is a lot of great stuff coming out, and I'm excited to share that with everyone in the field. So just look forward to that hitting your inbox, and we're excited to make it available.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, we have got one amazing team here that is helping us really bring you some new information and new materials. So in saying that, we are going to move on to the PAYS guide. But before we do that, we're going to have Sophia put up a couple of polls. And we were talking yesterday about the polls, that how I don't always remember to do them when I'm presenting, quite frankly, but I made myself a note so I did not forget. So your two questions are, have you ever used the PAYS workbook and how-to guide? And then if yes, if you could kind of let us know how you've done it, that would be great. So we'll give ourselves a minute to look at that. And you can see here. So Sophia, let us know when we are ready to go with that.
Sounds good.
We're doing, everybody coming in?
Yep. I'll give you about like 30 more seconds to get your responses in.
One of the other things too I wanted to say, and Jeff Hogan, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I did hear yesterday that the learning community for coalitions is going to be focused on how coalitions can use the PAYS and what that can look like. And that I believe is next Tuesday. Is there anything you want to say about that while we're waiting on the results of our poll?
You pretty much nailed it. I'm impressed. So if it helps, I can put the link to register in the chat while you guys are talking for that. But with all the tools on all the great ways that you're going to talk about using this data today, Megan will be walking us through next week kind of how to get ready. It seems like April 30th is a ways away right now to me in my head, but it's probably going to feel like it's here tomorrow. So talking about what to do right now to get things ready for whenever these tools become really useful in a few weeks when the data hits. Thanks, Phyllis.
Awesome. And yeah, if you can put that registration in there, anybody's welcome there. And this conversation will be very focused on coalitions. I think there's going to be a lot of breakouts and something a little bit different. So definitely take a look at it. I see in the chat as well as in the Q&A that we're having some struggles with answering no. Is that right, Sophia?
Yeah, it looks like if they don't have an answer for the second question, it's not letting them submit. So thank you guys for just being able to submit those who have.
So we've got about, just looking at where we are with that, we've got about half and half. Some have used it, some have not. That's pretty a good summation, very scientific there that I'm using. Dr. Rose, I know you're with us and you're shaking your head at me because I'm using that very scientific analysis there. But I see a lot of folks who have used it, have used the guide, the whole guide, or they've used the reports that were there and some of the other resources. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit. One of the things I like to encourage as we're moving forward, because I'm got some exciting news about the guide, but if those of you who have used it and I've touched in the section, put in the chat, let folks know how it felt to you, how it worked. You know, if there's any ideas on how to do it, we'd love for you to share with others. So want to definitely put that out there. Okay, great. So knowing that, I'm going to stop sharing here. And I've been very sharing challenged this week. Some say it's because I'm an only child, but we won't go with that. But we definitely So I am going to switch gears here and go to screen 2. And if my colleagues could please let me know if you can't see my screen as I'm bouncing around this afternoon, just say, Phyllis, put on the brakes. That would be helpful. Okie doke. So for those of you, this is our EPIS site. I'm sure many of you have been there already. How you get to this page, I'm actually on the page of our site. You would actually go to the page column in the ribbon. You would click on the PAYS how-to guide and workbook, and that's going to take you directly to this page. Now, with this page and how we tried to set it up, we really tried to break it down in a manageable way of how you would think through the process if you were going soup to nuts. Now, it was also designed though, however, we don't expect everyone to use every page of every module, okay? This is really a toolkit, and we want you to kind of pick and choose what the parts of this that work for you. So looking at the guide here, and this is your navigation to the guide. Now, one of the things I want to say that we did learn after, because EPIS had a website overhaul, I guess, about a year ago, maybe 6 months, 8 months, I don't know, time flies. And so part of what we were trying to do is make things a little more navigable, whatever that word is, but also to have a space where where you could kind of pick and choose where you wanted to. But one of the things we found out very quickly was there is a lot of information to work through. So the good news is Jamie, who is not here with us today, she got pulled into another meeting unexpectedly. She is working on creating an update of this guide. So we think it's a little more user-friendly, and we definitely want to, I'll show you a preview of it when we're done. So today what I really want to do is just kind of ground our thinking in how the guide is divided, but then also a little bit of what is in the content. When you go to each one of these pages, one of the good things is that, if you are clicking on, we're on this page right here, click here, you go here. Every one of the pages was designed. It has a lot of words. I'll be the first to say that. But our hope is that you can use this information on these pages if you're reaching out to maybe team members that you want to engage, and you can kind of tell them what you're going to be doing. It can also kind of help you frame, if you're having a meeting, what are we going to accomplish in these meetings? And I'll get to that in a minute. Now, when you're clicking here, let me go to the next. If you click down here, you will get what I am going to show you here in a minute, which is 79 pages of great information. It's the whole entire guide. You can print the whole thing off. It's in a PDF. And what basically you will see over here, I'm going to click on Getting Started, which is our first section. What we've done is we have taken that 79 pages and plucked it apart. So if we had individual PDFs that are also there. So that's sort of the way that we wanted to guide through this, if you will, and help you walk through. Now, each one of these pages, again, as I said, you will have some questions and some information that can help you walk through. This particular page, if you click on one of these guides, you will actually go to some different resources. So if you haven't had a chance, if you want to go on this page and you want to play around with it, definitely we want to make these links live so you can go directly to some of the resources. Now, one of the things that we know, and also over here, again, as you're scrolling down, these are all live links that you can see over here. And you will be able to see, and I'm going to jump down here where in the getting started, this is where you're going to get a lot of information. And let me say, this section was created for when you have a meeting and you need to go talk about PAYS. You've got information right there that you can pull from. You can put in a PowerPoint. You can have talking points. That's really what this page is for. So I really want to encourage you, take the words there, make them your own. But it's a really, we felt like it was a good basis, and we hope you did too. So I'm going to move on to module 1. Now in module 1, we have a lot of information here. Modular 1 is about getting your team together and analyzing that data. Okay, that's one of the key steps and really getting started. Now, one of the other things you will notice is each module, for the most part, is broken down into steps once you get going. Okay, and you will see they each have 1 to 3 steps that you would follow. Again, as we were designing and developing this, we were hoping that we were able to help you kind of think about a big process and help you break it down into small spaces. Now, each one of these steps, maybe that's how you guide your meetings. Okay, each one of these steps also can help you kind of pick and choose where, maybe your group, maybe as an example in section 1 where you're forming your analysis team, maybe you already have a team, so you don't even need to do that part. You would go ahead and jump directly to section 2. Now, again, over here, module 1, this is your printable PDF. That's just the section out of the guide that's module 1. You then will click, you have some worksheets here. There's some report links here. There's also some resources. Now, I just want to, for the sake of time, so it takes a minute to download, I want to show you what one of the worksheets look like. Can everybody see my worksheet? I want to make sure that popped up. Okay. So one of the things that with the worksheet, you'll see here that we definitely wanted to help you use this as a guide. Again, just trying to connect it back to the different sections, help you, give you a little bit of information about where to start, kind of thinking about things. And I will say with the analysis part, and I know you've heard a lot of us say this, we're all about dividing and conquering, and definitely taking a broad approach to analyzing. So this document was designed to help you kind of do that, so people can know which section they were working on and use kind of the same questions. So when you did come back together as a team, everybody would be on the same page. Now, with our moving forward, we also have in one of the, I want to just click on one of the reports here. And I clicked on reports, so I went to this page. Now you can see in this particular area, you will see in this version of the guide, you're going to see some coming soon placeholders. Same thing in the new version, because some of these things are things we want to get done and we simply have not had the capacity, but we're on the road to being able to get those done. But I do want to focus on this particular report. And I meant to pull it up earlier. You can see how it just downloads directly to the bottom of your page. And give it a minute. It's scanning, making sure I'm not doing anything naughty to my computer. And well, it's coming up. For the sake of time, it's taken too long to pull up. But you can see here basically what would happen. Oh, here we go. I'm going to pull this over here. Can y'all see this over here on my screen? Nope. You can? Okay, great. So basically what this has done, again, this is a trend analysis report to help you go in, and here's a lot of, let me make it a little bigger so y'all can see it. So this is done in PowerPoint. That's one of the things that we have done. We've used Word, we've used all of the, PowerPoint, things that are in the Microsoft suite, okay? Now, I will say Canva is a great way to go too, because it is it's free. You can download it. It's a really great way. They have pre-populated kind of templates. But what we wanted to do was to provide you something kind of a plug and chug space, if you will, that you can take and you can, anything in here is, you can move around, you can change. We encourage you to make some edits through all of this. We definitely, give you some space here as far as how you can change your tables. Definitely, this is a good report for you to think about using, because you're going to start talking about trends, because you're going to see some changes this time, more than likely. So definitely a good report. Wanted to show you that one for sure. Moving on to module 2 here, you can see our 3 steps are outlined again: determining your behaviors, perceptions, attitudes, prioritizing those risk factors, as well as establishing long-term goals. Now, each one of these has their own different worksheets. You can see here, I had already downloaded this one. And you can see, let's click that down. Come on, modular. Here we go. Yep, here's modular two, or module 2. So you can go here, and again, this is just some questions to help guide your meeting. Maybe you have some folks doing it outside of a meeting. You can use it in a meeting to help guide that conversation. And let us tell you, really take these questions and make them your own. Maybe there's some things you want to change or add. Please do this. We really just want you to use this as a guide. Now, moving on. You can see down here, moving on to module 3. Now, module 3, we have 4 steps in here. It's a little bit lengthier, but here you're going to do your resource assessment. Now, what we're going to do is first thing with your resource assessment, it's going to help you, again, think about, you may need to add some people to your team, because you need to have people there who really understand the programs and services and things that are happening, so you can capture that in your resources. You then are going to take a look at what's, your programs or practices. You're going to do a bit of a gaps analysis, and then you're going to summarize the information you found. Now, all of that information we are able to pull up in your in these worksheets that are here. This section has a lot of really good charts for you to use. I really would encourage you to take a look at this, but I will say that we guide you in this space to think about how the resources that are related to your priority risk and protective factors and your targeted behaviors, perceptions, and attitudes. This isn't necessarily about you capturing everything. So a lot of these worksheets that are listed here will help you do that. There's some really, really good information. I encourage you to check it out. I want to move on to module 4, looking at exploring evidence-based programs. Now, what this module's done, now up to this point, you've looked at your data, you've selected your priorities and targets, you've done a resource assessment. Now we want to help you explore those evidence-based programs. This is something that I'll tell you, this module could be used anytime. If you're getting ready to maybe write for a grant or something like that, there's some really great resources in here that can help you really determine how what would be those evidence-based resources that would be best for you. One of them is a fit and feasibility, effectiveness, and let's see if I can get it to come up. Here we go. Now with this, one of the things you'd want to do is kind of think about when you're considering a program, this fit and feasibility study, what we call it. It sounds kind of fancy, doesn't it? But it'll help you kind of determine which program might be better for you. You go through and you rate effectiveness. You then go through and you rate the fit, because just because a program's on a list doesn't mean it's going to fit what you need, right? Or also it may not be feasible. So with this one worksheet here, it can help you go through and rate different programs that are maybe offered through a grant funding, or you're looking to explore implementing in your area. This tool right here was created back in my early days with EPIS, early maybe 2011, 12, something like that, by our founding director, Brian Bumbarger, and Brittany Rhodes, Dr. Brittany Rhodes, she's now with the University of Washington. So this process, though, I'm going to tell y'all from, again, we have it with PACE. Take a look at it and utilize this the next time you're going to think about programming. It's a really, really fantastic resource for you. We also give you a great chart that has every single one of the clearinghouses for you to go and explore different evidence-based programs. As we know, it's not one size fits all. I've been around long enough that, back in the day, the only clearinghouse we had was through SAMHSA. And now we've got a lot. We've got, blueprints. We've got results first. We've got all kinds of different, and that is a one-stop shop there for you to take a look at. And I was going to try to pull it up, but my computer's been a little slow today, but I'll leave it as a little carrot for y'all to check out. So moving on to module 5 really quickly. This is where you've done the work, you've decided what you want to do. Now let's write a plan. Now, I want to say modules 5 and 6 are where you are going to see in the new version the most updated content. this was an area where we really, we got it together, but we definitely want to think that definitely want us to, work on this. And Lee and Jamie are going to be working to produce something a little more in depth. And Lee, thumbs up. Thank you for that content input that you gave us. It was super helpful. So here, though, again, you've got worksheets, you've got a report, that template, at least idea that we're still going to be playing around with. Here, because with this action plan, our goal is, again, for you to come out of this. It's one thing to do all the work, but what you're going to do and how you're going to put it into action. Module 6, this is where we talk about how to share your data. There are some really good reports here and worksheets that can help you really help identify, maybe media isn't kind of your thing. Our hope is that you will be able to, and I think, well, come on here. Well, I keep pulling up the wrong one. I think it's marked wrong on my list. So the bottom line is, again, I'll leave that as a teaser for you. With this worksheet, it helps you identify what audience, what message, where do you really want to talk about with your data. So I encourage you to take a look at it. But again, I will say in our new version, you're going to see a lot of updates there. I want to point you down here to this additional resource space, because one of the things we've included on this main page here is, and this is all of the examples and templates and things that are happening here. But I want to draw your attention to a video library that Sophia actually pulled together for us. This is just a group of YouTube videos that talk about, some general, how do you create a report in PowerPoint? What's some general PowerPoint information? What does it look like? I know a lot of us use it a lot, but there's still so much more that we could do. So definitely want to encourage you to check that out. And also too, search yourself, as you're going with this. I've been kind of in that social media space with some other work that I'm doing. And, YouTube is like the #1 used platform right now, because everybody goes there. If I need to know how to do something, whether it's something in an Excel tool, or if I want to know how to program my car to do something, where do I go? YouTube. So want to encourage you to kind of put that in your mind as well when it comes to reports and reporting and creating things that you may not do all the time. So I promised you that we are going to show you our updated version. So I need to move a few things around on my screens. 2 screens are a great thing until you're moving everybody around and trying to keep up. So I'm going to move this over here. I'm going to move y'all over here. Y'all are moving all around down here. So I'm going to escape. Come on. And what I want to show you now is I want to show you the updated version of what the tool is going to look like. Okay. Can y'all see the new tool, team? Can we see it? All righty. So basically what we want to do is, maybe I'll over there. So here's what the new guide is going to look like. One of the things that utilizing Jamie and her expertise, she does so much work in this space, was really, again, trying to pull together the information in a more user-friendly way. So the idea here is, again, you're not going to see a lot of change in content. There'll be some areas, like I said, module 5 and 6 especially. But what we wanted to do was to make it a little more cohesive in the way that that you'll work through the document. Now, this document that you're seeing, it's only a preview. We are not, it's not going to look exactly like this when it gets online. But I think, definitely doing some color coding, creating some module kind of icons, if you will, that if in the example being that if you clicked here, this is going to take you to module 1. Okay. And definitely a lot of cool features here. I'll just kind of move through. You can see just different look and feel than the way a lot of the other work that has been done. You can see here what will happen eventually. Like if I click here, that takes me back to my table of contents. So this helps you navigate a lot more easily, we feel like. One of the things that I want to show you, is an example of sort of what this is going to look like. This is another project I'm working on with Jamie, but think of this as kind of tabs within this booklet, this PDF that will be there. And you'll be able to do all of these same kind of things. You'll be able to go, you'll have your table of contents, you'll be able to click here to print. You know, it's much more visually, I think, appealing, and it's a lot easier to kind of navigate through. So we're really excited to roll this out. Jamie's making final edits and getting things going around this. So we're looking to roll this out, you know, by next month. Our goal is to get it out for Prevention Week. So take a look at that, and we'll definitely let you know when we have that going. But as you can see, it just is really, really neat the way you can move around and you can click on these different icons. That they're not live now, but they will be, that you can click and send an email or ask a question, all kinds of really neat things that we'll go through a lot more in depth when this is released. So I'm going to stop sharing again. I'm going to move you all around, and I'll have to find you again. Where are we? Okay. No questions. There you are. Stop share. I have way too many layers here today. Okay, so I was trying to, this is why you shouldn't present and try to look at chat at the same time, because I was seeing all this really cool stuff coming through, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to see all of this. So definitely, thank y'all. It looks like there's some really, really great information coming in, and I really want to take a minute. But before we get to it, and I will give myself a minute to look through this, I want to give Lee a minute to talk a little bit about, he's going to be in a different position in that he's going to talk to us a little bit about how he's used PAYS in his world, if you will. And so Lee, you want to go ahead and kind of share with us, you know, how you've used PAYS and what that looks like?
Sure, thanks. So a couple things, you know, I am, as it says on there, a PAYS consultant, but I am also the prevention supervisor for our SCA in Fayette County. So as Phyllis had said, but I've served in a couple different roles in this while I've been with the SCA. I've been a CTC mobilizer. I was the project coordinator for the opioid misuse prevention project here in our county. So in all of those roles, I've used PAYS, obviously, but you know, I've also used the PAYS guide in several different ways. And as Phyllis had said, there's some real opportunity to be fluid when you're using the PAYS guide. You know, you can use it from start to finish in its entirety, or you can really focus in on those individual modules. Sometimes people are just using these resources and worksheets, and that's okay. And I've done that. I've done all of those things. So one of the things that I wanted to share with the group was this idea of using the PAYS guide in a way that really guides the work of our CTC PAYS work group. So our local coalition uses this guide to analyze the data. We already have a team, sort of, because we are a work group. So that's a great example of just jumping right to that module 2 and module 3. But then when we have that data, when we've analyzed that data and we've got our focus, we really use that to drive our events that we have as it relates to PAYS and to get it more information out there to the stakeholders. So, and then here's another opportunity to do some great recruitment for PAYS guide, for work on the PAYS guide, but also for your coalitions as well. So with that being said, I've done some work with a smaller group of individuals using the PAYS guide based on a smaller school district. So based on one school district. So I've done this countywide user guide, deep dive, and then I've also done this more like centralized, more focused on one specific school district. So through that work, we were able to work with the administration of that specific school district. And now we had used pieces of the guide to analyze that one school district, and now we are working more closely with the administration of that specific school district to build this team. So now we're building a larger group. Essentially, it was just 4 of us at one point. We had done that with the release of the last PAYS guide, or the last PAYS report, but now with the coming up, we've got this new PAYS report coming out. We've been able to use that as sort of like a teaser. We've done some of this work on a smaller scale, but now we'd really like to do a whole rundown of this entire user guide with just your specific school district. Admin has bought into that, and we've already started developing a team. So we don't have that data yet, as you all know. End of April, we can't wait. But in the meantime, we have already started to build this group, this team, this analysis team. And with that coordination with the school district administration, we've been able to pull people from the school district to be on that team. And with my connections in the community, working with our coalition, I'm able to pull that group together. So that's something that all of you can do as well. You know, you've got these connections out in the community with legislators, with decision makers already because of your coalition work or because of your work with your whatever prevention programming you're offering, and they already have these connections in the school. So it's sort of like perfect marriage to bring these two groups together and to form this awesome team. So that is something that I have already started to do, and I suggest that is something that you all do as well. If you're planning on using the PAYS guide, I would go ahead and start thinking about your team now, making those connections with the school district. Everybody knows that, you know, building these relationships is important, and having already have done that through the work that I have done made this a fairly easy process. And you know, making those connections was just the next step. And building those pieces and building this team. So that is something that could be worked on until we get that report. And I'm excited to be able to share this information with everyone. I'm also, again, very excited to see all the new things. The PAYS guide, the new version, is really unbelievable. It's beautiful, but it's also so easy. You know, the idea of having these clickable links and really directing people on what they need at that moment. And there will be videos to go along with each and every one of those modules, so available to click and watch and guide you through this process. So thanks. Phyllis, you're muted.
Do it at least once, you know. I see if y'all are listening or not. So, but the definitely, as Kelly had recognized, such great work is happening. And, you know, we know that this is a busy time. We know that a lot is going on. You know, spring's around the corner, yay, you know, so everybody's trying to think towards the end of school, but we also know that, you know, there's a lot that we can do right now. So we want to say, be Lee, go be Lee, and begin building your team. You know, use this time over the course of the next few weeks before these reports come out to start looking at where can you bring people together. Lee has such a great networking space that he works in, you know, to be able to bring folks together. You know, familiarize folks with this PAYS guide. You know, we understand, you know, this is kind of one of those, we've all been in situations where, goodness gracious, I wish we had done this or been able to do this months ago, but we didn't. Capacity wasn't there. Now it is. So we're going to seize the moment. And like we said, the PAYS guide, the way I showed it today, still very great. It's great. It's a great resource. So definitely dive into it. Start looking for those new materials and tools. As I said, because y'all are part of our PAYS family, you will be the first to hear about it. You know, it's going to be sent out through multiple channels of when new things are coming out. And then also start planning for Prevention Week. Use PAYS. PAYS is a great way to, you know, talk about your data. You know, it's also a great way to dispel a lot of myths. You know, I think we're going to find a lot in what we're seeing in some preliminary data, you know, that things are, you know, maybe not exactly what we thought they might be in the within the COVID space. So definitely taking a minute to look at this. So I want to press pause here, and I am going to unshare. And I really want to talk to y'all a bit about before I want us to get into some questions, but I'd like for y'all to start putting in, I had posed the question, you know, what are some like updated materials or new resources, report templates? I mean, if y'all had a wish list, we want to see it. Because if your wish list, if it's on your wish list, it needs to be on our wish list. So we definitely if you can start putting in the chat where we're going with that. And I wanted to address one of the questions here that Jill Troutman posed. Jill, are you still with us that you could unmute and we could talk a minute? Maybe, maybe not. Yeah,
Does look like she's still with us. I'm not sure if she can unmute or not.
Let me see. Can you unmute Jill? See if she's still with us. Jill had posed a question while we're trying to see if we can get her. Jill, are you there with us?
I'm here.
Okay, great. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I guess I kind of am. I'll ask for
On the spot, that's fine.
but your question that you put in the chat about how is this also going to be in line with the governor's trauma-focused 10-year plan that was announced this week? Can you tell us a little bit more about that? I would love for
I got a notification. I work in the marketing and PR and the fundraising, and so grants are what I use PACE for. It's what I also use to do the marketing for the Children's Home of Reading and for others that we're affiliated with. So the governor just said something about a 10-year, he wants everybody to be trauma focused. And, you know, to me, that's what we work with already. But I wondered, how is this going to, I mean, how is Epicenter and how is this going to, are we putting that into this plan as well as it evolves, you know? Because we're trying to do best practices with what our evidence-based, our quality and compliance are doing evidence-based trainings and things like that. And that's what I'm writing grants for. But I want to make sure that we're capturing all the information that we need to be in order to be ahead of the game rather than playing catch up like we always seem to be at. You know, we're very reactionary in programs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I will say, and thank you, Sophie, I think that, or no, Monica. Thank you, Monica, for putting in the link in the chat.
It's 2020. Mine was last week. So there we go.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So I know the governor has had a trauma focused like task force for a while. And I think where, you know, one of the things I really like is that, you know, he wants to leave a legacy. And part of his legacy, while those of us who have been around a long time, we know Governor Ridge left a legacy of very strong support of prevention. That while we're all sitting in this room with you can be attributed to him, quite frankly. And I think Governor Wolf, maybe in a different way, he's really wanting to leave his finger on the pulse. And Jill, I think you said it really in a really nice way, that the unfortunate reality is we're dealing a lot of reactionary kind of space, and how can we get ahead of it? I would love, and I'll say if there's anybody on here, we would love to be involved. If you're doing some trauma focused work with PACE, we'd love to see it. If you have some resources, we would love to see them because we would like to share them back to that group. You know, I don't know exactly where we're going, but Jill, I am taking a note. There is a cross systems prevention work group that is it's pretty big, and it's at the state level, and we have a meeting on Friday and I'm bringing it to them. So thank you, Monica and Jill, both for that. So definitely I will say, and that was a very roundabout answer, but I think the key is going to be, and I've been doing this, I think I'm on my 12th year of doing working in Pennsylvania, and it's like we really do try to get ahead of it using data to drive decisions, do that public health approach, you know, all the things that we know. And I think that we definitely, you know, we still have room to grow there, and it's making these kind of connections. It's how we do it. So I wanted to get to a couple of, Grisady, thank you for the question about Spanish. This is something that we definitely would love to hear from y'all about. What kind of materials would you need in a Spanish space? We do have the survey in Spanish. Actually, it's not utilized a whole lot, but it is available. But we would love to see as far as what kind of materials you could use to share in your communities. Grisady is actually from Adams County, and they have a very large initiative on diversity and inclusion there, where they are really working to include their Spanish-speaking community within their efforts. And it is an amazing, if I will say, Grisady, I'm going to call you out on this one in a great way, because if y'all want to know how to really integrate that, it is a great way to do it. And they definitely are looking at their data, and they do the CTC process, which one of the things that those of you who are familiar with Communities That Care, the way this process or the way the whole guide was written was around the CTC process. We've got to look at data, make decisions, move forward, those kinds of things. So we want to really encourage y'all with, whether it doesn't matter where you are, if you are, and I really noticed a lot of providers are with us today, and thank you for that, because we need you in this mix. One of the things that we really encourage with, if it's a school district or whomever, we say your providers, your prevention providers, they need to be on that resource team with you. They're the ones in the know, And if you're a provider, if you're a school district, if you're part of a county agency, whatever that looks like, if you want to know what kids are thinking and saying and feeling and experiencing and many other verbs that you can put in there, you need to get involved with PAYS. And we have watched that transition happen. I didn't want to start out on the negative, but the reality was we did have a bit of a decrease, but you know what? I see it as a blip. I don't see it that, that we're having issues, that people aren't interested. That what we heard from districts who did not participate, it was solely a capacity issue. It's not that they weren't interested, because people see the value of this. And I'll tell you, all of y'all who are sitting on here with us today, you're that voice for us. When you put that PAYS to work, you're helping all of us, because the more people support it, the better. So we definitely want to thank y'all for that. Am I missing other questions? Sophia or Lee or anyone that we haven't addressed here?
I think we had a couple people with their raised hands, but they don't seem to be here right now. So if they jump back on.
Well, if they jump on, just holler at me. So just to kind of move forward, again, we're coming close to the end of time. Does anybody have any questions before? We've got just a couple of minutes here. I would love to hear, from y'all. If you have ways that you have shared and used your data that are unusual, if you have tools that you use yourself that you love, please share them with us. We would love, 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 love to build off of them. I know Lee is always really, he's just been great working in the space of helping us develop. He's doing a series of videos that are going to be coming out that, Lee, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit in our, just for a minute, to talk about, because one of the things we wanted to do was to do some little training snippets around the modules. Lee, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, they will be short, little, but we want them to be sort of, easy and quick and to the point, to go along with each and every module that's available, including the getting started, which would also be able to be used in a bunch of different capacities because of the content that's in there. And there's also, a big video coming out relatively soon for the legislator audience. So that is going to be a tool that is going to be available to use. And, like I said earlier, a couple times, I think there's a lot of great stuff. So we do want your input though. So if you have any thoughts or any suggestions on any content that you feel is there's a gap in, then just let us know. Keep Phyllis in the know for sure. And we would love to work on that.
Absolutely. And I think where, Lee mentioned the legislator video, that is something that we're going to be putting together a collateral package that will go out to all legislators during Prevention Week. And we're not necessarily going to be going room to room and here's a pile of papers you may or may not look at. We're going to do something a little more social media driven, as well as, having this really great video that Lee has produced that we will get out to y'all as soon as it's available, because it's not, while the audience is legislators for our purposes right now, it's really around decision makers and those who can support your prevention efforts. So definitely we're excited about that. So Monica has suggested we have a meeting where folks present the ways they use PAYS data. Absolutely. I know Jeff Hogan, y'all do a lot of that work within CTC. And we, Sophia, we actually are starting to build next, starting to think about the build out of our topics for next fall. Definitely we'll make a note of that, Sophia, don't let me forget, and make sure, because I think that would be really interesting. And we look to Jeff and Megan and the coalition team to provide some of that, and y'all may hear some of that next week. We may learn from that. Again, just want to, as we're finishing up here, we have 1 minute left. I want to say that, again, reminding this is an updated upcoming series, so please make note in your calendar. We'll send you some notices to remind you. Make sure you connect with us. You know, Sophia is going to, if she has not already, is going to put in the evaluation in the chat. We really do appreciate you filling it out. It really does help us. We do share this information with PAYSAG, our advisory group. I don't think we always talk enough about them, but we have a group of folks who really care a lot and have been around the table a lot with PAYS. And we're looking to grow that and really make it great. I want to thank you all. First, I want to thank Lee for participating, Jeff and Sophia and Dr. Rose, everybody who's here who has helped us make this happen. But most importantly, if you weren't here, we wouldn't be here either. So we definitely want to thank you for spending your valuable time with us, because it means the world to us that this is important to you, because it's important, because it makes a difference in our kids' life. And I think sometimes we kind of forget that, but we definitely